Driving anywhere can be dangerous, but safety on roads nearby schools cause even more concern. Elizabeth Kirsch addresses the growing problem of school road safety later in the show.
Recycling is done nationwide to help take an old object and use it to make something new. Reporters Reed Davis and Ross Henley went into detail to tell us how important it actually is.
Both basketball teams and men's soccer resumed action yesterday in athletic competition. With both sports seasons beginning to shift into high gear, every game seems to matter a bit more as the year progresses. Mackenzie Hamilton is in studio to highlight a busy Tuesday in sports.
Eagle Nation News starts right now.
Good morning, Prosper High School. Today is Wednesday, January 18th. I'm Brandon Bonaparte.
And I'm Reagan Ranter. Here are today's top stories. After 146 years in business, the Ringling Brothers Circus is closing its tent. With the high maintenance operations and the decline of ticket sales, it made it difficult for the company to keep up. Before they do end the legacy of the Ringling Brothers Circus, they will be performing 30 shows across the United States from now till May.
The Prosper DECA program traveled to Haltom High School this past weekend to participate in the District Career Development Conference. Pablo Arango, Ben Duran, and Cole Pettis made state for their first time, Jasmine Willis and Matthew Boostrom for their second year in a row, and Mackenzie Hazlitt and Satira Rumpf made it for the third consecutive year.
Just yesterday, debate competed in their UIL district meet. Mark Warner and Brian DeBerry placed first in CX debate, followed by Zach Elmer and Hunter Jordan in second. Zane Smith and Joy Yoakum placed third. All will be advancing to state.
Driving in a highly compacted area can be tough, but when you add student drivers into the equation, as well as pedestrians on foot, you get a safety nightmare. Elizabeth Kirsch reports on how safety in school zones is instrumental in making the trip to and from school a little less stressful.
With every school comes increased traffic. Student drivers, parents, and pedestrians crowd the streets and sidewalks to reach their destination. The area around the school has specific rules in place to help keep students and drivers safe, but with additional rules comes a higher chance of being pulled over.
In a school zone, the speed is the most common. You can also get the failure to yield right-of-way to a crosswalk, passing when unsafe. You also have where it could be impeding the roadway. Use of an electronic device, you have to have hands-free.
There are specific concerns that go along with school zones, such as increased foot traffic and less experienced student drivers. All of these factors have prompted Prosper ISD police to be present in the parking lots.
One of the biggest concerns with the school zone is, of course, the people coming in and out of the school. Kids, no matter what age, from kindergarten up to a senior in high school. You worry about the fact that it's not always predictable what they're going to do. One of the biggest ways to improve the school zone and the safety of everybody that drives through it and that's at that facility is through traffic enforcement. And that's not just with speeding tickets and tickets for talking on your phone, but being out there where you're seen. The biggest thing is when people see a police officer outside, they tend to pay a little bit more attention.
When being pulled over by an officer, receiving a ticket or a fine is not always a guarantee.
Well, you don't have to give tickets. For example, I work the school zone 3 to 4 times a week, sometimes 5, it just depends. We have officers at the elementary schools also and the middle schools, and we all work our school zones. Now, just because we stop a car doesn't mean we're going to give a ticket. Through my experience as a police officer the last 8.5 years, you can actually educate and correct a problem easier with a warning than you can with a citation. The main thing isn't where people get mad that they're having to pay a fine, but that they understand why they need to follow the law.
For Eagle Nation News, I'm Elizabeth Kirsch.
After this commercial break, Reed Davis and Ross Henley sit down with local recycling bins to gain insight on how recycling can benefit the environment.
Robotics Club meets every day after school in room 1262 in preparation for the FRC Robotics Competition. Competitors for the area HOSA competitions will meet January 19th after school in room 1255. The list is on the HOSA classroom page. PHS Radio with Edge meets January 24th at 3:50 in room 1050. On-air personalities and sports broadcaster positions are available.
Recycling is a $200 billion industry in the U.S. The average person has the opportunity to recycle more than 25,000 cans in a lifetime. With more on recycling is reporters Reed Davis and Ross Henley.
You know, in 2016, the average American consumed about 167 water bottles by themselves.
And yet only 20% of those water bottles were actually recycled.
Recycling, first introduced in the 1920s, is an easy way to take something old and reuse it into something new. We sat down in studio with fellow recycling advocate William Q. Bin. All right, so let me ask you, how does it feel when someone takes one of your bottles and puts it in a trash can?
Right. I mean, I really hate when people put bottles in those dumb trash cans. Like, I'm really just trying to help the earth out. But hey, here's a funny eco-friendly joke. What kind of tree grows in your hand? A palm tree.
All right, Breeze, if I was to give you this, what bin you think you'd put it in?
Recycling bin.
All right, Tanner, if I was to give you this bottle, what bin do you think you put it in?
Probably the trash can.
One way to make recycling more fun and convenient is to try to make a game out of it. Simple competitions with your friends like Trash Ball will actually make recycling much more fun. The rules of Trash Ball are simple. Just grab a friend and see who can make the bottle in the bin first. And for ENN, I'm Reed Davis.
Now let's send it over to Ethan Burden with your daily social media update.
Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone had an amazing 3-day weekend. My name is Ethan Burden, and we'll start off your Wednesday with some news that not many of us liked hearing. If you haven't heard already, Vine was supposed to shut down a while back. Well, it is now that time, but the ending of the app does come with something a little interesting, the Vine Camera app. The new introduced app is pretty straightforward. It offers you to record your front or rear-facing camera with limited editing options available. You then may upload to Twitter with a 140 character count or simply just save your camera roll. But as of today, Vine is finally gone. Now let's move on to another poll. Today after school we'll be running a poll, so make sure you're following us on Twitter at Eagle Nation News and turn on our post notifications so you can get live updates and giveaways and more. Also, if you would like to submit poll ideas to us, use the hashtag ENNPolls and tweet your polls ideas at us. Well, that's going to do it for today. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Ethan Burden, and today is National Winnie the Pooh Day.
After this commercial break, Hannah Dennis is in studio with your 3-day weather forecast.
Experience the magic, the beauty, and the love of Prosper Theater's Cinderella. Play opens January 19th through the 28th at 6:30 p.m. Special matinee is at 2 p.m. on January 21st and 28th. Tickets can be purchased at the door or now online through the theater page on the PHS website. Experience the greatest fairy tale ever told in Cinderella.
Welcome back, Eagle Nation. This past Sunday was pretty eventful for North Texas. We've had at least 4 tornadoes touch down, very strong straight-line winds, and flooding. In Frisco, many homes had shingles blown off their roofs and trees knocked over from the winds. In Arlington, there was flooding on the roadways that made people have to stop and push their cars into parking lots because their tires were not able to get traction on the road. Moving on to our 3-day forecast, today the high reaches 57 and we have a 30% chance of rain. The rain chance is mostly just for this morning, but it could stretch out into this afternoon. This will be our last day this week in the 50s, and it may be the last day for the next 2 weeks that will be in the 50s. Tomorrow the high will be 69 and there is no chance of rain. It will, however, be a bit cloudy for most of the day because of the rain chances, but it will quickly clear up overnight. The wind will be picking up a little throughout the day to help move the clouds out, so it will feel a bit cooler than the said temperature. Friday the high is 71 and it should be a fairly sunny day. Once again, there is no rain chances in the forecast, but that may change. It'll be a little windy with winds reaching 10 to 15 miles per hour. This weekend looks like it'll be another rainy weekend, but there is no chance of severe weather. Saturday night is when we will most likely receive all of our rain. We will start off next week in the 60s, and it looks like we will hit the 70s again by the middle of next week. I'm Hannah Dennis, and Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri received a ½ inch to 1 inch of ice this past weekend.
After this commercial break, Mackenzie Hamilton is in studio with us to recap the guys and girls basketball and the girls soccer.
If you are interested in playing softball but are not currently enrolled in the class, please attend a meeting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. in the MPF room 1022. Prosper Theater presents Cinderella. Shows start at 6:30 beginning January 19th, 20th, and 21st, with matinees on Saturdays. Safe will be making shirts after school in room 1112. Shirts will cost $5.
So, Brandon, last night, boys and girls basketball played in the Eagles' Nest against Little Elm.
And all three men's soccer teams were in action against Denton Guyer. Here to talk about that and much more is Mackenzie Hamilton. Mackenzie?
Thank you. That's right. After traveling to Lake Dallas last Friday, where Josh Davis led the boys basketball team to a 52-42 victory over Lake Dallas Falcons with 24 points, and Jordan Oliver aided in her team's win with 20 of her own points in the 79-49 finish for the girls team, both of the basketball teams look to get another victory over the Little Elm Lobos. Last night, the girls basketball team hosted the Little Elm Lobos in the arena to start off their second half of district play. The Lady Eagles had beat the Lobos 70-58 in their last game and were able to get the win again the second time around. In the first quarter, the Eagles scored 24 points to Little Elm's 15. The second quarter had the Eagles leading again, making the score at half 44-27 Prosper. In the third quarter, the Lobos outscored the Eagles 12-9, but the Eagles secured the game with 14 points in the fourth quarter to Little Elm's 10. Mackenzie Hewitt led the team with 24 points. Bailey Lightfoot followed with 15 points, including 5 threes. And lastly, Jordan Oliver had 13 points. The final score of the game was 67-49 Prosper. Unlike the girls, this was the first time for the boys basketball team to face off against Little Elm. The Lobos took the lead early in the game, coming out of the first quarter with 7-point advantage over Prosper. The Eagles fought back in the second quarter, narrowing the gap of the game to 29-27 at the end of the half. The third quarter was a close game as well, with the Lobos outscoring the Eagles only by 1 point. Little Elm clinched the game in the fourth quarter, though, scoring 20 points to Prosper's 12. The final score of the game was 61-50 Little Elm. For the game, Zach Reitzel led the team with 19 points. Josh Davis followed with 12, and Caleb Adams was close behind with 11. Both of the basketball teams will travel to Newman Smith High School on Friday. Girls will play at 6 and boys will be at 7:30. The Eagles soccer team was also at home last night hosting Denton Guyer. Prosper won 2-1 with goals from Joe Vante and Dylan Johnson. The team had some momentum coming off of their 3 wins over Frisco High, McKinney High, and Denton Ryan in their tournament from last weekend. Their win over McKinney High marked the program's 100th win ever for the program. Lastly, the boys golf team was back in action in the TPC Four Seasons tournament. The team as a whole scored a 657 with Marco Punzo placing 3rd. Also, Graham Hutchinson shot a hole-in-one within the tournament. That's all I have for you today. Reporting for Eagle Nation Sports, I'm Mackenzie Hamilton. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Now here are some final announcements. If you are interested in taking an AP test and are not taking an AP class for that subject, please see Ms. Benavides in the counseling office to sign up. The cost for each test will be $93. Checks are made payable to Prosper High School. Deadline to sign up is March 1st.
The 15th annual boys volleyball tournament for all classes is next Friday, January 25th. The cost to attend is $2 and the money will be collected by your 8th period teachers. All money must be paid by January 25th or the price goes up to $5.
On a more solemn note, last night a Little Elm police officer was shot and killed responding to an assailant with a gun in a Little Elm neighborhood. Detective Jerry Walker was 48 years old, husband and father of 4. There will be a candlelight vigil tomorrow from 7 to 9 p.m. Donations for the family will be collected during all lunches tomorrow in honor of the fallen officer. All students are encouraged to wear blue on Friday.
Well, that's all we have for you today. For Eagle Nation News, I'm Reagan Ranzer.
And I'm Brandon Bonaparte. Live long and prosper.